part of the global supply chain. This will be brought to you by our group, The Great Impression. Myself and my colleagues, Rachel Chin, Wu Lim, Jesse Wang, and Catherine Rose. Mexico does not benefit from being part of the global supply chain. You may say no benefit is strong words, but looking at Mexico, I see slow economic growth, I see low productivity, and low-paying jobs. Decrease in foreign direct investment. Foreign countries are losing their optimism for the country. They do not want to invest in a country that doesn't have a favorable business environment. So what is Mexico's role in the global supply chain? As we said in Maquiladoras, they're focused around three primary industries: auto parts, electronics, and apparel. The imports into Mexico, 60% of the imports come from the United States. 90% of the imports are going back out to the United States. So where is this manufacturing taking place? In the Maquiladora sector. Maquiladora started in 1965 with a border industrialization program. They're characterized by having restrictions on imports, exports, and eased customs tariffs. They're owned by American firms, primarily Ford, GM, Mattel, Xerox. There's no corporate income tax. So no corporate income tax, there's no benefit going to the government of Mexico. No economic benefit. They're concentrated in the border states, uneducated workers. It's really a dim picture, high pollution, low wages. So you might ask, how did Mexico become involved in this very unbeneficial aspect of the supply chain? Rachel will tell us more.
Thanks, Trevor. Now from Trevor, I believe you already see that Mexico was badly affected from Maquiladora. And also, did the government realize that? Of course. They are not stupid, right? So the government also wanted to solve the problem and make a little change. Then they signed the NAFTA. NAFTA gives all the Mexican firms duty-free access to all the Canadian and the US market. And it was supposed to stop the bad effects caused by the Maquiladora. But however, from this point, we say that the NAFTA failed. Why? Because it did not prevent the huge wage gaps in Mexico. Moreover, the number of companies owned by the government went down since the NAFTA. So we can see that Mexico had less government regulation toward the economic activities. And it's very bad. But what's even worse, from the number I listed here in the bottom, you can see that Mexico now relies too much on the US. So it has no independence, and it has very, very high economic risks. Now, Jesse will tell us more about the slow economic growth.
Thanks. As a start, let's have a quick look at this picture first. We compare the per capita GDP per capita of Mexico to that of China. As you can see, these countries were standing at the same starting line, but Mexico's economy was going too slow. Actually, from 1995 to 1999, the manufacturing export annual growth rate was 16% of Mexico. According to standard economic theory, opening the economy will fuel the country's export and trade and foreign investment, but this is not the case to Mexico. Mexico's economic growth was sluggish. We can see from 1992 to 2007, the annual GDP per capita growth was only 1.6%. It's very slow compared to Mexico itself before 1980. And people ask why export doesn't benefit the little contribution to the whole GDP of Mexico, and why Mexico doesn't benefit from being supply chain. We can find an answer from the quotation at the bottom of the screen. Actually, the term of trade, which is the import minus export, it should be opposite. And the term of trade is export minus import. It's in deficit after 2006. Because most of the export is based on the imports of the material and little value-added production in maquiladora sectors. With slow growth in trade, it's no surprise that the development of employment is poor. So Catherine will further demonstrate this point.
All right, thank you, Jessie. So, as Jessie said, with slow economic growth, there's no surprise that there's going to be poor employment opportunities as well. Since the 1990s, Mexico has had a hard time creating high-quality jobs, highly skilled jobs, because there's been a greater shift to lower-paying, lower productivity jobs, predominantly found in the service sector. So as you can see, about 60% of the labor force is found in the service sector. And I want to focus on that because inside the service sector, there's a kind of a subsector, the informal sector, that's been rapidly growing. Now, what is the informal sector? So the Mexican National Employment Survey defines it as those being self-employed, working in an enterprise with fewer than 5 people, as well as not collecting any employment benefits. And that's about 30% women and 27% men. And this is growing. So why does this matter in the global supply chain? Because a lot of these jobs that are being created are low skilled and low productivity, so they're not really adding any value to the overall economic growth. Now, as the informal sector increases, as you can tell, there's going to be a negative effect on the overall economic growth. So how do investors view this? Luke will explain more about that.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, now I'm going to talk about decrease in foreign direct investment, FDI. Okay, FDI plays an important role in globalized supply chain. In 1995, China was the largest recipient of the FDI, and Mexico was second. This is important. Mexico was second, but by 2008, China has remained the first, but Mexico has fallen to the 7th, from 2 to the 7th, compared to the other country. And which means Mexico has been losing their investment attractiveness to foreign investors. Okay, second one, I want to talk about primary investors in Mexico. Okay, we have a chart here, a graph here, and the largest 5 FDI sourced to Mexico are US, Spain, Poland, Canada, and UK. It is no surprise to see that US is the largest investor in Mexico. The US is Mexico's largest trade partner, receiving 80% to the 90% of exports, Mexico's exports. And Mexico is the US's 3rd largest trading partner, behind Canada and China, which China is Mexico's competitor. Okay, so last one I want to talk about. Let me conclude the slide. Yes. Okay. Mexico has failed to the strategy of global supply chain. And I'm going to give you 2 primary factors. First, Mexico heavily depends on US market. That means if US economy is recession, that affects directly to the Mexico. And second primary factor is China. Mexico produces similar product like China and other developing and emerging countries. Okay, so now I'll stop. Thank you. Thanks for listening.